What's up, everybody? Welcome to Blow the Whistle, the place where we don't just talk about the game, we blow the whistle. If you're new here, let me set the tone. This is where sports, culture, and keeping it real collide. No hot takes just for clicks, no fake outrage, just honest opinions, laughs, and a whole lot of love for the game. This is a father and son armchair quarterbacking podcast. 2 generations, 1 mic, and 0 filter. We're not claiming to have all the answers, but we do have opinions. Sit back, lock in, and enjoy the conversation. And if something doesn't smell right, or if the take is a little too over the top, you already know what to do. Blow the whistle. So Ole Miss beats Georgia 39-34, and it was arguably the best game in the quarterfinals.
Sure was.
And a lot of ups and downs. I thought Georgia was going to sneak away with this one, but what were your thoughts on the game?
Trinidad Chambliss. He was it. As Deion Sanders would say, he was him yesterday. I mean, every decision he seemed like he made, it was the right one. I don't even know that much about him. I learned more about him doing this game. But from someone starting off in D2 last year at, I can't even remember the school.
Ferris State University.
Ferris State. D2 come in as a backup at the beginning of the year, and this is what it came to. You starting in a bowl game, and this kid was 34, 46, 364, 362 yards, 90.6 QRB, 2 touchdowns. Man, that's pretty good. Again, I didn't know that much about him at all, but he showed me something, and I would be, as we talked about last night about the game, I wouldn't be surprised if this kid stock rose for the draft. I don't know if he's a first round pick or anything like that, but he's definitely, I would say, late second round, third, fourth, but he was good. I mean, his arm strength, he just made it look effortless in this game. And just like you said, it was like the ebbs and flows of the game. They came out, seemed like they punched Georgia in the mouth. And then Georgia, like Georgia, came back and just roared back to the lead. And I was a little worried. I was worried. And I was definitely worried, at the start of the second half. Georgia came out, was running the ball on them. They just couldn't stop them. And who was that? The running back, Frazier. That dude seemed like he was just a monster and a beast. And Zachariah Branch, man, he almost reminded me of what's the guy from Ohio State? That receiver.
Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah, he reminds me so much of him. I mean, he's not as elite as Smith, but Branch, man, I mean, he made the right catches when he needed to. And it just seemed like Mississippi's defense kind of went down because in the first half, man, they were strong. Yeah. They were getting after the quarterback and they kind of slowed down. But,
yeah, going back to Trinidad, and it's not like he just did the bare minimum. He threw 362 yards. He threw for 2 touchdowns. He was doing it all for this offense, and his arm strength is elite. It reminds me of Josh Allen when he throws. But he looks good. He definitely increased his draft stock by a lot. I mean, I didn't even know him. I thought he was going to be undrafted. He might be, if he keeps this up against Miami, he might even go to the 3rd round. And if he wins it, then...
See, that's the test right there. I mean, I think a lot of people slept on Miami, and I know we're going to get to Miami here in a little bit. I think if he goes in against Miami and shows against Miami, because I think Miami's defense is underrated. And if he can get after those cats in Miami, because Miami's notorious for having some real boys on that defense. And I don't even mean to call them boys like that, but they have some heavy hitters. Those are some players on Miami. And if he can go in and replicate And I don't think he even has to get 362. But if he can go in there and control that game and get the win, oh yeah, his stock goes up like that. I mean,
Yeah, and it seemed like Georgia did not look like the Georgia we all know. Georgia, when I think about Georgia, they're always dominant. They always can beat you either in the air or on the ground, and their defense is arguably one of the best defenses in college football. And they did not look that good. Now, they did have some plays where they looked good. They looked like Georgia, but whether it be letting some players just get past them, or even on the last play with the game-winning field goal or a clutch field goal that happened, where that he just let him go. It just didn't seem like Georgia was playing the way Georgia always plays. It felt like they were being controlled by Ole Miss, and Ole Miss ultimately won by being more explosive and having more of a clutch X factor too.
I will say going into the game, I didn't think Ole Miss had a shot. I'm gonna just be honest with you. With the whole Lane Kiffin thing, you have a few coaches going back and forth between Baton Rouge and Ole Miss. I I just didn't think that they would come out and win this game. And to your point, I just honestly thought that Georgia's defense was just going to they wouldn't be able to move.
Yeah.
And but I will say this to the credit, earlier in the year they did play Georgia,
Yeah.
and they did take a lead on Georgia, but Georgia all this year they kept storming back and winning. It's like 4 or 5 games Georgia came back and won. So Georgia was never really out of the game. But what was just surprising was that at the end of the game, that one pass that Trinidad threw to the wide receiver, what was his name? On that on the last drive that sealed the clinching.
I think it was the Zahn Stribling, I want to say, where he passed up number 15 on Georgia's defense and got in the field goal range at like the 20-yard line, or 30
Yeah,
yard line.
I mean that was shocking to me. That was shocking, and I mean I know that Deshaun was in the slot, and that was man-to-man coverage, but I was just shocked that he was that open like that, and that he got the ball. And once that play, it was over. It was sealed. And again, it was a good game. It was probably the best game in all the playoffs, or probably all the bowl games. No, I take that back. Texas did have a good one, and maybe because we're just a little biased for Texas, but and U of H, that was also a good one. But this game, I guess it was what made it really, really good was the fact that I was rooting for Ole Miss. I didn't think they were going to win against Georgia, and they literally did not blink, on that last drive. I mean, they literally smacked Georgia in the mouth.
Yeah, and there are definitely a lot of questions coming out of this game. Like, is Ole Miss really this good? Or, you know, was it good that Lane Kiffin left? He built this team, built up a good record. First time Ole Miss goes to 11 wins. And the coach that, subbed for Lane Kiffin, he looked good. He was more of the on the defensive side. He was also
Yeah,
the defensive coordinator.
Golding.
He looked good. He looked good for a coach, and this can be a lot of questions about, can Ole Miss do this again next year, and more questions about Georgia. Georgia lost to the backup, and he looked good against Georgia's defense, and Georgia's defense is one of the best we've seen in.
But I will say that Trinidad must have had something that Lane Kiffin. It's not Lane Kiffin. Not that Lane Kiffin don't know talent. Lane Kiffin knows talent. So Trinidad had to show something for Lane Kiffin to take a shot on a D2 quarterback and make him your second string quarterback, and then to have faith after the first string goes down to say, hey, look, come on, you QB1, and have a lot of faith in him. But I'm with you on that. I think Coach Golding, I think he did an outstanding job. It seems like they're not even missing Lane Kiffin. Now again, let's be honest and let's be fair about this. There's still some of Lane Kiffin coaching staff that will be leaving, going to LSU, still on this staff. So I'm gonna be honest about that. However, players are the ones that's playing. So a lot of credit to the players of Ole Miss, because it wasn't. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna give it to Trinidad. He was the star of the show. But look, man, let's be honest, man. They had two receivers over 100 yards. Wallace at 156. Stribling 122. So it wasn't like there's a bunch of slouches.
No. And it's not like he just threw it to just them. Wallace only had nine catches, and Striblin only had 7. He gave it to 10 people on the offense. He's finding ways to throw it to everyone, to involve everyone into the scheme that Golding has, and it worked. It worked against Georgia. Now, is it going to work against Miami? We're gonna have to find out, but it was pretty good.
And let's not forget Kawan Lacey. I hope I'm saying his name. Kawan Lacey or Kawan Lacey, 98 yards. That dude was a beast too, and he had 2 touchdowns. I mean, he was no slouch. I can easily see this guy playing at the next level.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a tough. That dude's big, fast, tough. And that was another thing too that surprised me about Georgia, man. They were running the ball right up the middle on Georgia, and they got the tough yards that they needed, which was just a little surprising to me. That Georgia was allowing all of that to happen on defense, especially when Kirby Smart is known. His teams are known for tough defenses, but hey, Ole Miss got the win, so
a reminder: this Georgia defense, Andy tackles those. They're pretty good. You had Jalen Carter, you had Jordan Davis. They're doing good. You had some good edge rushers from Georgia that are essentially all pros now in the NFL. So Georgia's defensive tackles and edge rushers are nothing to laugh about. They're good, and the fact that Ole Miss could just run it up with Lacey, go for 98 yards, 2 touchdowns, that says something about Lacey and the offensive line. I mean, the offensive line looked good. They didn't even give up a sack.
Yeah.
Did not give up a sack. So, credit everyone on Ole Miss, and they look good. So, we just have to wait to see when they go up against Miami.
Yeah. I will tell you, though, a part of me was kind of hoping that Georgia had to go up against Miami, because I did want to see.
Oh,
and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we'll be talking about this against Miami, but it would have been, good to see if Georgia won. I'm glad Ole Miss won. No, I'm not trying to downgrade Ole Miss, but
oh no,
it would have. If Georgia went, that also would have been a good game.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to see Miami's quarterback. What's his name?
Carson Beck.
Carson Beck. I kind of wanted to see that matchup just to see. I know everybody's high on Stockton, but I will say this: Stockton, he played decent. He played good. But Trinidad Chamberlain, man, I can't say enough about that young man. He was, man, he was good. He was good.
Yeah.
Speechless.
And Chambliss did win Offensive Player MVP for the game. 362 yards, 2 touchdowns. He ran it a little bit, going 30 for 46. He deserved the MVP, and we'll just see what happens against Miami.
Yeah, but here's the Ole Miss. Hey, man, nice win. I'm kind of now rooting for Ole Miss, believe it or not, to win the whole thing now. But yeah, here's the Ole Miss. You can blow the whistle on that one because.
Oh yeah.
And that was another thing too. There was some bogus calls.
Yeah.
There was a lot of holding in there, and I was like, blow the whistle.
There were a lot of holding calls.
I felt like those refs on a few plays, they were trying to give it to Georgia.
Oh yeah.
They was trying to give Georgia that game because there was one play. What was that? It was a blatant hold.
Oh yeah, it was a blatant hold when it was an edge rusher trying to get the quarterback. He held him pretty. It was pretty obvious, that he was holding. The refs didn't see it. I don't know how, but and a lot of pass interference. Yeah. Number 14 on Ole Miss, he called 2 pass interferences on some crucial downs. But still, they didn't allow Georgia to get the touchdown on the last couple of minutes, which kind of sealed this game. Credit to Ole Miss, credit everyone on Ole Miss, and credit to Chambliss. He deserves it, and I'm excited to see what happens after this. All right, next game we're going to talk about is Miami and Ohio State. Miami wins 24-14 against Ohio State, and this was probably the most shocking one. And I was shocked because Ohio State this year has been really good. They've been pretty good. Their defense has been good. They have really good receivers. I thought Ohio State was going to just take this one, but credit Miami's defense.
Ohio State got smacked in the mouth. I'm going to tell you what Miami remind me of. It reminds me of kind of like what Mike Tyson once said. Everybody got a plan, and when you look at a team like Ohio State going against Miami, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Mm-hmm. And I tell you what, Miami's defense punched Ohio State in the mouth all day long because statistically, if you look at them, Carson Beck wasn't that impressive. Mm-mm. He had 138 yards. Right? Now, I'm going to give it to Fletcher Jr. That boy was running 19 of 90 yards.
He was doing good.
He was the most impressive out of all of them.
Yeah, he did have that fumble, but he made up for it. He made up for it through a lot.
The receivers, average. Beck, average. Now, when you go down to that defense, oh my goodness. That defense was smacking people in the mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, from the edges, Ohio State saying couldn't do anything. And I'm going to say another thing, too. I know this is going to be probably sacrilegious, or I know people are going to think, like, okay, Duvall, like you really hating on Ohio State. With the exception of CJ Stroud, I have zero faith in Ohio State quarterbacks. I don't care how good they look throughout the year and in a game. When it comes down to the main game of it all, the pressure, the playoffs or championship games, rarely do I see them or be like, man, this dude look like Trinidad Corvallis. Nope, not at all. And I understand saying is a sophomore and all that. I get it. But I'm going to tell you right now, if I'm being 100 with you, if I'm being 100, let's take Jeremiah Smith out of the equation. Man, Stan would look average. That's just how well Jeremiah Smith, that's how bad that dude is. He will take an average quarterback and make him look like he a first round pick.
It also happened with Will Howard as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Jeremiah Smith did carry this team. If you look at the stats, 7 catches, 157,
7.
1 touchdown. The next person next to him, Carnell Tate, 3 catches, 37 yards.
This dude averaged 22.4 yards.
And you're wondering, like, Jeremiah Smith's good. He's doing really good. But he cannot carry this Ohio State team if Julian Sandlin cannot get on a roll. I mean, Julian Sandlin did not look comfortable in the pocket. He didn't look agile as he did last time or last game. He didn't look. He hesitated a lot. He got 2 interceptions. One of them was a pick 6.
Man, look, in all due fairness, you'd be hesitate too if you had that defense coming after.
True.
Because they had some dogs over there on Miami. This guy saying he literally lost 42 yards on his own. 42 with sacks, running the ball, and whatnot. And my point about Jeremiah Smith is this. Jeremiah Smith, when I look at him, he reminds me or looks like Julio Jones, but he plays like Megatron, Calvin Johnson. This dude is literally bona fide. And again, that's just how good he is. And to your point, he's good, he's great, but not to the point of trying to carry a team against a defense, or at least the way Miami was playing yesterday. Yeah, okay, good. He showed out on that secondary, but that wasn't enough. That was not enough. And just 24-14. 24-14, and Ohio State stayed at either the number 1 or number 2 ranked positions this whole year. Again, every year, Ohio State is overranked.
Yeah. Miami's defense, they got 4 sacks in the first half. They slowed down by having 1 sack, but they still look good. I mean, even though they slowed down with sacks, they still looked like Miami's defense always looked this whole season. Now, granted, they were tired a lot because they were always on the field. But
who?
Miami's defense. They were always constantly getting on the field. And Miami runs it where they don't really swap out fresh players. So their starters, key players were always getting tired and stuff. But when they did come in, they had a big impact. And it didn't have to be sacks. It had to be pressures. They pressured the quarterback a lot. So
they did. And one thing I love about Miami. You look on the sideline, all of Miami greats was there. You had Michael Irvin, the playmaker. You had Ray Lewis there. Every game you see Hall of Famers on that sideline hyping these cats up. And hey, look, the best part of this game, because anybody who's smacking Ohio State is all right with me in my book, because I just cannot stand Ohio State. And I mean just the football team. I'm not talking about individual people. I don't like Ohio State at all. And seeing Michael Irvin taking off his belt, and as you say, what is that, BTA?
BTA.
Oh my goodness, man. And he put that on. It was just like poetry in motion. But anytime I can see, anybody smacking around Ohio State, hey, it's a good game for me.
Yeah. Now, questions and concerns for each team. Miami, do they have what it takes to go to the national championship and even win, whether it be against Oregon or Indiana, because they do go up against Ole Miss on the 8th, next Friday or Thursday. So I think the defense will carry them a lot, especially against Ole Miss. Ole Miss is more of a, whether it be a run heavy or pass heavy, that defense is is elite for Miami. But I do think they can make it to the national championship and even win. I mean, they won. They won against this super dynamic Ohio State team that has Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. You have all these players, and da 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 da. But I think they got it, and the reason why, we're talking about Georgia winning was because Carson Beck played 2 years for Georgia, and then this year he went to Miami. So it would have been cool him seeing him um go up against Georgia and potentially win. But yeah, concerns about Ohio State. I don't know. It's like you said, they always keep failing when the break gets too late, and it doesn't seem like they can get back when they're already down by multiple scores. I mean, they couldn't get. They were 14-0 coming in this first half, and they just couldn't get back up. So
Yeah, I just think that Ohio State, I mean, again, it's a big bark, small bite. I mean, Jeremiah, if he's leaving next year,
Mm.
that's the issue right there. Hopefully, they have somebody else coming in behind them because, again, I'm not really sold on the quarterback saying I'm just not. But here's the interesting thing about Miami that concerns me. I think this is going to be a good defensive battle with Miami and Ole Miss. And I think it's going to come down to the two quarterbacks, right? Well, Carson Beck did not really look that impressive against Ohio State. And Ohio State defense, traditionally, they have a pretty good defense.
Yeah.
But Trinidad, he played a good defense.
Oh,
and he carved them up, killed them. So I think it's going to come down to the two quarterbacks. And looking at Carson Beck, his numbers, and I'm presuming I don't have all the stats in front of me, but against Florida, an SEC team, 160 yards he threw. He was 17 of 30, completion rate 56.7, right? Who's another one?
A&M.
A&M.
Only
a good defense, 103, 14 of 20. So that kind of concerns me because all of these SEC teams, he doesn't seem to thrive. And I'm only going by the stats, people. That's all I'm going by. Numbers don't lie. That's what we're going by. So if I'm judging by that, and they're going in to play an SEC team, so that may be a tough one. But Trinidad, he's already shown and proved that he can carve up a good SEC defense.
Yeah, it does not matter what happens to Ole Miss. I mean, if they give us a good game, but they lose, Trinidad, he did fantastic this season, and he did fantastic that whole game. And, it's like you said, it's going to be a battle with the quarterbacks. I mean, Carson Beck usually does not throw a lot against high or like top defenses, and only 103. Ohio State only 138. So it just comes to, can Carson Beck deliver and throw more for this team against Ole Miss?
And I'm not taking anything away from Carson Beck by no means because he still had a really good year. He still threw for over 3,000 yards. So he had a really good year. So I don't want to take anything away from him on that. I'm just going by the numbers when he's playing SEC teams. But shout out to Miami. I got to take my hat off to Miami because at the beginning of the year, I'm not for sure if anybody ever thought that they would be the final four teams in the playoffs. And a lot had to do with that defense the last two games since they entered the playoffs. So shout out to them. I do think that this is going to be a hard test defensively for Ole Miss. But hey, look, man, and I'm gonna tell you something. College football is always good when Miami is at the top like this. It makes for exciting football because you wasn't born when Miami was like stomping heads back in the day. Boy, you missed some real good football back when they was wearing fatigues getting off the plane. Those boy, the Jimmy Johnson, boy, Jimmy Johnson era.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I did forget Jimmy Johnson did.
Yeah. Oh, and he was at the game too.
Oh,
and
yeah. Showing support to
showing support, man. I
that
mean,
coach.
they seem like they have that swag. Matter of fact, I want to say that Miami, watching them play back when I was a teenager in my early 20s, they were the ones that put swag into football for me.
Definitely.
Oh my goodness, man. That documentary, what is it? Catholics versus convicts. Oh my goodness. I don't know what Notre Dame was trying to do, trying to make Miami look bad. But when I watched that documentary, it did the total opposite. Miami was that swag team, that team that you just love to watch them, because when they punched you in the mouth, they got up and they let everybody know they punched you in the mouth.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, man. So shout out to Miami. I'm glad to see that they back, and I hope they stay on top like that for a while. What I would love, honestly, to see, especially next year, man, a UT Texas versus Miami. Oh my goodness. That would be, whew, man, that would be the game of all games if you really think about it. That would be a showdown. Oh my goodness. But hey, Ohio State, but I will give it to my man Jeremiah Smith. Bruh,
He's good.
You are a beast. And if you are not in the top, if you going into the draft and that kid is not in the top 5 picks, something's wrong.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was in the top 5 or even in the top 1, depending on
the top 1
or the first round pick, not top 1. Depending on what happens, depending on the quarterbacks, I wouldn't be surprised if he was the first round pick. But yeah, again, credit Miami's defense and offense. Their run game was elite, offensive line elite. And yeah, questions will be answered when they go up against Ole Miss on Thursday.
Yeah, and that was another thing too. I'll say this before we go. Ohio State defense only had 2 sacks that game.
Yeah, Ohio State's defense is supposed to be
2 sacks,
supposed to be really good,
and they only had 4 tackles for losses. That was it. I mean, man, Miami just seemed like they controlled that game the whole time.
Yeah,
and the only thing I really want, one of the things that just stand out besides Jeremiah Smith, was it just seemed like Julian Sand was just in duress, under pressure the whole game. Now I could be wrong. Pretty sure if I go back and look at it, probably like, okay, probably not as much, but that's what's ringing in my head, is just seeing that kid under pressure and duress the whole time. But hey,
yeah, we got to see what happens to Miami and Ole Miss. Should be a good game. Should be a pretty good game, and I'm excited for it. All right, next one is Oregon and Texas Tech, and that was a blowout. Oregon won 23-0, and I don't know what to say about Texas Tech. They averaged 42 points per game, and they could not even get 3 points. And Texas Tech looked bad. Their defense, which was a pretty good defense, also looked bad. 2 interceptions for the quarterback. Steven was not good. They just did not look as good as they did in the season.
This wasn't a game. This was not even a game. This was an embarrassment.
Yeah.
This game shouldn't have even been televised. After halftime, they should have just turned it off. I'll be honest with you. I mean, Oregon State, 23-0. Most people would say this is a statement. This is not even a statement. This is ridiculous. Really? 42 points a game and you got 0. I mean, you couldn't even get 3 points. You could not get 3 points. And this offense is supposed to be what? Fireworks. Supposed to be fireworks. 42 points a game, fireworks. Well, if they thought that was fireworks, Oregon must have bought the fire extinguisher because they couldn't light nothing.
No.
This is ridiculous, man. And what made it so bad was Tech. And look, born and raised in Texas. I root for everything Texas. All my teams come out of Texas. But this was an embarrassment.
Yeah.
This shouldn't even took place. I would have been all right if they said at halftime, we're no longer broadcasting. We're going to go ahead and watch the Disney Escapades or something like that. I would have been okay with that. And they spent a lot of money in the portal with NIL. And this is what you come out with? But see, this is another thing too. And not to knock on the Big 12. I love the Big 12. U of H is in the Big 12. I love the Big 12. But this was seriously ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it shows you there's the level of competition in the Big 12. I'm not sure you can compare with those top Power 5 teams up there at the top like that. And just because you're blowing people out in the Big 12 and even in the Big 10, it's hard to compete with those teams that have that grit. Now, I'm the first to tell you, I honestly think Oregon is another one of them showboat teams who bark loud, small bite. Because Oregon's been there for a long time.
Yeah.
For a long time, they've always been up there, but they always get smacked in the mouth and get, pulled down and all that. So, this was a complete embarrassment, not just for Tech, but for the state of Texas. I'm being honest with you.
Yeah. And Tech didn't even play. They only played 2 ranked teams, Utah and BYU, in the Big 12. And it shows that they didn't have a lot of competition. They were putting 42 points, 45 points, 50 points on all these unranked teams, on all these teams that didn't have a positive record, that were 3-9. They beat on them and they got the 4th seed. But it shows just because you get that 4th seed or you're a first round bye does not mean you are guaranteed at beating Oregon or you're guaranteed at beating anyone else.
No, because Oregon kept their composure. They didn't panic. They didn't rush. They played smart football. They made decisions. They controlled the game from the beginning. Dante Moore constantly moved the chains, man. And Davison finished drives and everything else. And, it was crazy because Oregon, they wasn't chasing highlights or anything like that. It wasn't anything like flashy or anything. They just literally cashed on Texas Tech. And Tech, oh my goodness, man. The turnovers killed them. They couldn't settle in. They just couldn't do anything. And you can't run tempo when you're always picking yourself up off the turf.
No.
And that's where they was the whole game, on their backs.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
2 interceptions and 2 fumbles for Texas Tech. Quarterback didn't look good. Offense didn't look good. They didn't look like what they were this season. And they looked They just looked new, and they are new. I don't know the last time Texas Tech went to college football plays, but they're inexperienced. Oregon has a lot of experience going into this playoff and, getting it done. They're not showing flashy plays. They're not showing all these crazy highlight reels or the best catches. No, they're playing good football. They're playing how they're intended to play. You're trying to win, and they won.
Yeah. And I will say this too. This game should have been worse than 23-0. This game should have easily should have been probably like 35-0. If I'm being completely honest, which brings me to this about Oregon. This is why I know Oregon is pretending. They're not gonna do that on Indiana. Mm-hmm. I can tell you that right now. We're about to talk about Indiana. They're not doing that on Indiana. You can hang that up because at times in this game, Oregon looked ugly. I mean, and they had to win. And granted, you do sometimes have to win ugly and everything like that. But this January football, man, you should have smacked Texas Tech from jump.
Mm-hmm.
Because what was it? Wasn't it like 3-0?
It was 6-0 going into halftime. Halftime started, they scored.
Yeah,
they scored 17 points.
That shouldn't even been that way. And that's what concerns me about Oregon when they're going up against Indiana. Because to me, and we can go into the next game, the next one, Indiana is the most complete team that I've seen this whole year, and it's from start to finish.
Going into Indiana beat Alabama 38-3, and Heisman winner Fernando Mendoza, he made more of a statement. He basically told everyone left, Oregon, Ole Miss, Miami, you better bring your A game against Indiana. Coach for Indiana, he good. He legit. He reminds me of Nick Saban, because he's like, okay, I know we won. Keep scoring. I want to see how much we can score. You messed up. You got to do more. And he's not a coach that will let things slide. Even though you're up by 30, you mess up, you still got to do the right thing. And this is what makes Indiana a high favorite to win the national championship, because they're a complete team. They basically nail everything. The defense is good. The offense is good. They don't have to make explosive plays to get 38 points. They just simply march down the field and they score. And that's what they showed against Alabama. Alabama did not do good. Now, Ty Simpson did get injured. It could have had an effect on the score. I don't think it did. But even before he got injured, I mean, Indiana, they put 17 points in the first half and then put 21 up more.
Man, look, let's be honest. Yesterday was a great day for me. Ohio State and Alabama getting smacked. That's a good day for me. Now, I understand Alabama. They may have walked into this, with all the history and everything else. Indiana walked out with authority.
Oh, yeah.
They 38-3.
Mm-hmm.
They literally took their belt off on the field and made everybody on Alabama, including the coach, bend over.
Yeah.
BTA.
They did.
For real.
And I think Alabama came in with too much confidence, because they came back. The last game, they did come back against Oklahoma. They smacked them. They came back, barely won, and I think they came back with too much confidence. They should have known that Indiana was legit.
From the opening kick, Indiana controlled it. They played fast. They didn't even loosen up on them. Mm-mm. It was like once they grabbed them by the throat, it was like, we're going to keep you like this.
Oh, yeah.
So try your best to breathe, because we ain't going to let you breathe.
No.
I mean, it was crazy. And you know what? And I know people think, Alabama, whatever. Again, Alabama came into this year hyped up. And Alabama, if I'm being 100% honest with you, Alabama had no business being in the playoffs.
No.
Zero.
They were 11-4.
It just seemed like they just going on history. Well, they were 11-3 going in.
11-3 going in.
Still, they had no business being in there. You would have been best putting in Texas. I mean, golly, Alabama, 3 points. But you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. You know what Alabama need? But I know he ain't coming back. They need to get Nick Saban back, and he ain't coming back.
He ain't coming back. But they need someone like Nick Saban.
Yeah, and the reason why Nick Saban ain't coming back because Nick Saban don't want to deal with that portal, and they don't want to deal with that NIL because why? This is what the portal and NIL has done, and I know people don't want to talk about. Well, people do talk about it, but here's the honest truth about that. It's leveled the playing field for everybody. Before the portal and NIL, Alabama had everyone.
Yeah.
Their second string team literally could have been another team in the SEC and literally competing for a national championship. Their third team, they literally had three teams on that team when Nick Saban was there. The first, second, and third string team that literally could compete for these playoffs that we're playing in now. But the NIL and the transfer portal has leveled the playing field. And that's why you have a team like Indiana that can go in with somebody like Alabama and smack them in the mouth. That's why, look, who's left in the playoffs?
Indiana and Oregon and Miami and Ole Miss.
Before the portal and NIL, just my opinion, y'all, I honestly don't believe you would have those in there. Literally, Ole Miss is the only SEC team. Before the portal, you would have had Alabama in there,
Georgia
in there,
Texas.
You probably had Texas in there,
maybe Oregon,
and you probably would have had Ole Miss.
Yeah, Ole Miss.
The majority of those teams would have been SEC. But this goes to show you the importance, in my opinion, and the beauty of the portal and NIL. And I know some people don't like that, but hey, man, I love to see a team like Indiana. Indiana literally has a legit chance to win a national championship. And I'm hoping literally to see Indiana Ole Miss.
Yeah. And it's not like Indiana's like barely scraping by. Like they beat Alabama. They beat all ranked teams except for Ohio State by a lot. Basically, everyone they went against, they blew them out. Ohio State was an exception, but they showed time to time every single week, from week 1 all the way to now, that they are legit. 14-0, that's hard to do. That is really hard to do. Don't matter who you're going against.
Yeah, and look, man, I'm gonna give it to I'm gonna give it to Indiana. Like we mentioned before, they're probably the most complete team. But Fernando Mendoza, 14 of 16 for 192 yards. Yeah, you under 200 yards, but 14 of 16. I mean, look at that rushing. They could Alabama again. When you start talking about the history of Alabama, they known for defense.
Yeah, they are.
They had pretty much two running backs, pretty much going for 100 yards each.
Both went. Keelan Black and Roman Hemby both went for 80+ yards, and they both got 2 touchdowns.
I mean,
and they both spread out the rock. Like, it's Indiana's legit. That's all I gotta say.
Alabama got punched in the mouth.
Alabama got punched.
I mean, in Alabama, look, man, you can't play from behind. When you especially playing from behind and you ain't never got off the ground. They were smacked on the mouth and put on the ground from jump.
Yeah.
And hey, I honestly think that when it comes to Alabama, unless they get somebody in there with the cachet of a Lane Kiffin or a Nick Saban or whatever, I don't see them being prominent like they were again for a while. And the only reason why I think LSU is going to get back up to that promise, look, LSU is notoriously always that one team you can always rely on to always be there, lingering in the top 10.
Yeah.
But I do think with Lane Kiffin going there, I think he has an ability to recruit, whereas I don't see any of that in Alabama. I don't see it, and I think the one thing that Nick Saban had on his side was the recruiting ability to say, "Hey, look, going into someone's house, going into a recruit's house and talking to their parents and saying, listen, I do not recruit college kids. I recruit pro kids. I recruit pro players. Everybody I recruit has a chance and the potential to go on and play in the NFL."
Yeah.
Alabama don't have that no more. Nobody believes that coach now, whoever he is, coming in, sitting down, talking. I'm like, why? I'd rather send my kid to Lane Kiffin right now. Because no matter what we want to say about Ole Miss, it's still Lane Kiffin's team. It kind of reminds me of when the Dallas Cowboys, when Jimmy Johnson was there, they won 2 back-to-back Super Bowls, and he left.
And then they just brought in some random guy that didn't have a lot of success, came back.
Barry Switzer, they did. Yeah,
well,
I'll say he's random. But it was Barry Switzer. He was random in the pros or whatever, but everyone kept saying when they went back and won in 95 was that, hey, Barry Switzer may have been the coach, but that was Jimmy Johnson's team. And that's what it kind of reminds me of with Ole Miss. And again, credit to Golding. But Alabama, back to Alabama, they're done. I mean, and which is good for me. That's fine. So
yeah, and it looks like Indiana, depending on what happened, it looks like they're going to be around for a while. I mean,
yeah,
coach is legit, team's legit, Fernando Mendoza's legit.
I'm just impressed all around with Indiana because I didn't even see this coming. I knew that they were decent last year, but I did not see this coming at all. And I don't want to hear nobody talking about, well, the league, the football, it's down. It's not like your typical, season of having like the good top teams and all that at the top. Man, look. And I know we was just listening to Cam, and I love Cam Newton. Cam's my dude. But Cam was sitting there on First Take talking about he ain't see him play nobody offensively. And I get what Cam is saying. But at this point, it's almost like I don't even want to bet against Indiana right now. Because they're going to go up against a good offensive team. But then again, I'm not even for sure. I don't even know if Oregon's that good. Either Oregon has a good offense or Tech has a good defense. Because a good offense should have put up way more points
against Tech.
And that, like I said, is what's concerning me about Oregon. And I don't think their offense is as prolific as maybe Cam is thinking, maybe. But then again, I am like I said, I ain't played the game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm just watching.
I'm watching, so Cam knows all this stuff. So I go to him, and if that's what he says, hey, look, I got to take it for that. But from what I see, man, it's hard for me to bet against Indiana right now. And and looking at what Oregon did to Tech offensively, it wasn't that impressive. But hey, we gonna see next week.
Gonna find out who goes home or goes to the national championship and wins it all.
Because I tell you what, if Indiana goes in and smacks Oregon like they did Alabama,
Indiana might win. Totally.
Amen.
Indiana's a strong favorite. Look, I won't be mad if Indiana wins. They deserve the win because they got the most complete team. So we'll just have to see.
They do. And look, man, again, I'm going to say it again. I know when you look at Indiana's record, just looking at it, Ole Miss, Kennesaw State, Indiana State, Illinois, Iowa. Oh, they beat Oregon before.
Yeah. They beat Oregon 30-20.
Oh,
so
man.
they do have some experience with Oregon's team and defense. So, but it is hard to beat the same team
twice. I get that.
But, I'm still confident Indiana can do it and bring it out. It just looks like Oregon's kind of still lackluster, and they're kind of lacking in the explosion.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Because, look, Oregon is a good team. It's just that they just don't have that. When I think of Oregon, I don't think of explosiveness. I just think of a team that, we could just get it done. But you can't, it doesn't have to be pretty. We can get it done. I don't think of, Bama when they have explosiveness. I don't think about Indiana when they have explosiveness. I don't think about all this when they have explosiveness. So that might be a big factor when determining who's going to win against Oregon and Indiana.
Yeah, but I will say Oregon's schedule was way tougher than Indiana's now. I will say that because however, again, I do think that Indiana's just the most complete team. So we'll see next week.
We'll see. All right, now, since we've talked about the 4 quarterfinal games, we're now going to be talking about Texas and Houston Cougars. First, start off with Texas. So the Texas Longhorns beat Michigan Wolverines 41-27. And it was a close game coming into the fourth quarter, but Texas just ran with it. Arch Manning had 221 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and even ran it for 155. Got 2 touchdowns as well. Defense did their thing. They got 3 sacks, 3 interceptions, and Texas looked good throughout the entire game.
They did. I would say this game kind of remind me of Texas just simply saying, "Hey, look, we belong." Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had a hiccup early in the season. We shouldn't have lost to Florida. But this was a pretty good statement, and I think too, if I'm being honest, I will agree with Paul Feinbaum when he said pretty much the last half of the season and going into this bowl game, I think Arch Manning, you can make a case he was a Heisman for the last half of it, because in this game he showed everybody he is just like a completely different person from the beginning of the year. Looking at him, and this was Arch's game. If you ask me, if I'm being 100% honest with you, I mean, literally from the first snap, Texas was more physical. They controlled the line of scrimmage. Michigan felt the pressure from Texas. But hey, this is a good win. I honestly just think that Michigan, I think this is the team Texas was supposed to be at the beginning of the year. And Michigan didn't have a chance in this game. And whoever thought they did have a chance coming into this game, just because, they were ranked 18, you're crazy. Yeah.
But this was a good way, or a good win for Texas to end off the year. But I think even next season, I think Texas is going to be back, and I think they're going to be better than this season. They get to the playoffs, and we'll see how it goes. But Arch Manning has been looking good these last 2 months. So, excited to see Arch Manning, what he can do next year when he's a junior.
Yeah. I mean, he did it with his arm and his feet. And that's what made it so impressive. Is that over 200 yards, 2 TDs in the air, and then he rushed for 155. Actually, it just reminded me of Vince Young. Actually, you know what it kind of reminded me of? If you wasn't born then, so just the year before Texas won the national championship, they had played Michigan and they had lost to Michigan. If memory serves me correctly, or did they beat Michigan? I can't remember what they did. But this is what it reminded me of. Like, okay, this is that statement that y'all better watch out for next year because we are coming. And that's what it reminded me of. And Arch kind of reminded me of Vince Young in that game saying, hey, we're coming next year. We're fully loaded. Now, I'm not for sure what's up with all the running backs hitting the portal. It's like 3 or 4 of them that hit the portal.
Yeah.
But I don't think Texas is going to have a problem finding a legit running back either through recruiting or in the portal. But if you can get Arch a bona fide rushing attack, at least get you 800 to 900 or 1,000 yards plus, Texas will be in the national championship. And this is barring if Arch comes back at this level he played in the last half, they're going to be there. And I will venture to say that he will be a leading contender for the Heisman. But he was impressive. I mean, I'll give it to him. He looked good.
Yeah, and this was Arch Manning's first season, actually, starting. So we did have some hiccups in the first half of the season, but second half was no problem for him. He did good for his first season as a starter, and he's going to bounce back and could be a potential for a Heisman winner next year. So.
Yeah, and Michigan, we all know what Michigan's went through this year with their coach and all of that stuff. But at the same time, again, Texas. I mean, I can make a case and say that Texas should have been in the playoffs over Alabama. That's for darn sure.
Yeah, I feel like they would have put up a better fight against Indiana than Alabama.
If you put Texas up against Alabama right now, not only would Texas wipe the floor with them, please, Texas would. I mean, Bevo would have went out there and stomped them. I mean, he would have horned them like it was no tomorrow. But hey, this is Texas. Again, Texas, along with Miami, those are the 2 teams that you always want to see at the top of the heap because it just makes college football so interesting. And to see that Texas, the last few years have been back. And I think that next year the hype is going to be even bigger just for the simple fact that it's Arch Manning. Manning is going to be there going into this season, playing good football. Going into next season, playing good football. So I'm really looking forward to it and I'm excited about it. But I will say this, as excited as I am about seeing Texas next year, I am over the hill about U of H.
Yes. The next game is U of H versus LSU, Kinder's Bowl, which was, to me, it was kind of a shock. I didn't think U of H would win. U of H did win 38-35 against LSU. But U of H looked way better than LSU. There are a lot of people saying, oh, LSU should have won this game. They could win with their second starters, blah, blah, blah. U of H, they looked good. Connor Wigman, 230 yards, 4 touchdowns. That is a U of H record for the most touchdowns in a bowl game for U of H. Dean Connors, their running back, had 126 yards and a touchdown. They looked good. Offensively, defensively, they always look good. And yeah,
Yeah, I mean, this game wasn't about, the rankings. It was just about U of H's resolve. They literally was down 14-0. And I'm pretty sure everybody started panicking, like, oh goodness, here we go, thinking that, hey, this is LSU or whatnot. But they stayed quiet, they kept grinding, and they were fine. And they showed it. The pressure showed up early, and Houston did not flinch one bit.
mm,
And I would give it to Connor. Out of all these quarterbacks we talked about, for whatever reason, and I'm not sure, and I don't know, is it because y'all went to school at Bridgeland, and watching Connor play in high school as much as we did, I'm very, very impressed with Connor. I just think that A&M going there wasn't the right fit, and I
mhm.
think that kind of gave him a bad rep. But as good as he is a quarterback, the young man is a great leader.
Oh, yeah,
And I'm telling you, for somebody who served in the military for over 20 years and led numerous young men and women, and I know a leader when I see one, that kid, out of all the quarterbacks we talked about, he's a natural born leader. I don't know what it is about him. He's very respectful. He doesn't flinch. And to be truthful with it, any other quarterback who went to A&M and experienced what he did, especially after that one game that he was the starter the year before, and against Notre Dame, and he was pulled, a lot of quarterbacks would have broken. Like,
mm,
they would have broke.
yeah,
But this guy, he stayed there. To his credit, he played his role, the backup role. He was a leader. Um, he was helping Marcel Reed. So that's big ups to him. I mean, that's impressive. I got to give him his due props. And going to U of H, and I always said that at the beginning, when all of this recruiting, and I understand, when you're the number one quarterback coming out,
yeah.
and what was that in 23?
23, I believe.
23, yeah, 22, 23. I get it, man. You have all these top schools, and U of H is kind of like not on the radar for all that. Not cool, whatever. But I always thought U of H was the right fit for him, even before, um, when A&M was his choice or whatnot. Bro, what you yawning for? We talking about Connor Wigman. We talking about Wiggy. You can't be yawning on Wiggy,
No,
man.
but
Yeah, so in this game, man, and he set that record, which is kind of a shock. Me growing up here in Houston and having, watching David Klingler in the running shoot, Andre Ware in the running shoot. I would have thought that one of them two roll game. But hey, I'm glad it's Connor. He is very deserving of that. Kid is, I shouldn't say kid. Young man is like, did not flinch. And well, we've been to like just about every home game of U of H,
basically,
and this kid does not flinch.
no.
Even in the games that they lost, he still was coming. And I know the one against Tech, the concussion happened, and so therefore he had to come out. But I almost bet that he probably would have kept trying to play. But to Houston's credit, man, um, they're good. I mean,
Yeah,
I will say I was shocked. And not only that, let me just say this. Let me just say this thing about Coach Frisk. Last year, U of H won 4 games.
yep. 4 games.
They improved by 6 games. 6.
That's good.
And
That
Coach
is
Fritz,
extremely good.
that you got to get that man. He should be in the NCAA, period. He should literally be the coach of the year of every and all divisions and all conferences, period. Willie Fritz. Because obviously the man can recruit.
Yeah,
He can recruit. Um, and a big part of that has to do with Connor. And don't get me wrong, Amari, man, that boy's quickness and speed, man, my bust Amari. Not boy. This dude
He is electric.
Oh my goodness, this dude's quickness is crazy. Like it's trying to solve like a math equation, and you just can't. And just seeing him in live and the way he's coming out of breaks and stuff like that, dude is for real. Is he coming back next year? Is he
I
a senior?
think I believe Amari Thomas is he's a junior.
Okay.
He should be coming back, but yeah, U of H, pretty good bounce back season. You know, winning 4 games, now you're 10-3, and you're ranked, being 21st in the nation. They're good. I think they're gonna be good next year, and especially the other years, because they recruited the number 1 ranked quarterback, Keyshawn Henderson, and he looks good. I've seen some of his videos in high school and all that. U of H might be good for a while. And
well, the good thing is Connor's coming back,
and Connor is too.
This kid can sit back and watch, Connor on how he do it, but most importantly, how to be a leader.
Yeah,
I think that's the most underrated quality of a quarterback, and I think that's what makes Fernando Mendoza so good. It's not, yes, he's good as a quarterback physically, but it's his leadership. People want to follow him. And that's the same thing with Connor. That's the one thing I noticed, like at the games and watching him on the sidelines, they gravitate to this kid. They follow him. He makes a mistake, they pick him up. Not that he needs picking up, but it's nothing. They're like, hey, Connor, don't worry about it. We got you. Defense, hey man, we got you, And the way he is with his players, like when they do something good, he's there. The way he runs the ball, and he's like, hey, look, put the game on my shoulders. We got this. And let me say this, 2 other players. Dean Connors.
Dean Connors.
Bro, man. This dude runs violently. It's like every time he gets the ball, I honestly feel like we're going to get a good 3 to 4 or 5 yards.
He's like Scatterboot.
Yes.
He's Cam Scatterboot.
Yes.
Just a little, I think.
And I don't like Scatterboot because he was with the Giants. Can't stand him. No, that's not true. It's the Giants I can't stand. But Scatterboot, and I didn't like him either because he just ran over Texas last year. So anyway, and in that bowl game, but yeah, you're right. He does remind me of Scatterboot because I would say Dean, 16, 126 yards. He was a big factor too. Why Houston was able to, get the victory over LSU. And I will say too, Tanner Kozel,
Tanner Koziel.
Koziel. That boy's NFL ready.
He's right legit.
Now. My bus Tanner, not boy. Correction.
He is legit. He's been doing good. That's all. He's been doing good. My bus. He's been doing great. He is a first, or he made a lot of nominations for the Big 12, and every single game he shows up.
He's a legit bona fide starter in the NFL. Probably not, his rookie year, and I don't know if he's a first, second, third, whatever, but his body type, man, 6'7", 240. And the dude is tough. And we've seen him get popped. And he get hurt and he'll come out the game for a couple of plays, but he'll come right back in. Dude is tough. I will give it to Tanner. I think that's really going to hurt. And I think he was Connor's security blanket.
Yeah.
They work well together.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be a big loss for next year. But U of H do have a backup. He came in and he got an important catch. So was it who was his name?
Fravel Frederick Jr.
Yeah, Frederick. So look at that. Jeanerette, Louisiana. Your grandfather on your dad's side is from Jeanerette, Louisiana.
Okay.
So yeah.
So he got that dog in him.
Yeah, that dog in him. So, but hey, I'm looking forward to next year with U of H. U of H really, really impressed me. But for me, when it comes to U of H, it's Connor to me. It's Wiggy. I mean, Wiggy is. I mean, I'm so impressed and I'm so happy for Connor that especially with A&M and working for the A&M system in College Station and having to drive there every day. That year that and just constantly hearing them rag on him and everything else, and now to see him doing this, and that's another thing about A&M too. And I know we ain't really talk about Texas A&M, but have you noticed that every quarterback that leaves A&M, they do something? Look at old boy at Georgia Tech. Man, we can go down. Haynes King. We can go down the list.
Something. I think the only prominent one that I know of is Johnny Manziel. But Johnny Manziel didn't really do that much in the NFL as well.
I gotta blow the whistle on you now. Just stop it. Johnny, that's the college. Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
But I'm talking about everybody that left from old boy. That's the quarterback.
Haynes King.
Or that for Arizona.
Oh,
Arizona.
The Cardinals, man.
Kyler Murray. Everyone that leaves, and they go on to do well. Kyler left and went to Oklahoma. Bam. Look at that. Connor leave, go to Houston. Bam.
Look at that.
Look at that. Haynes King. And that was the one that I was like, man, where's he gonna go? Bam. Georgia Tech. He was pretty good. Yeah. It's like I don't know what's going on with them. But hey, look, Connor is in the right situation. And again, Connor, I'm happy for you, my brother.
You the man.
Yeah.
Wiggy. Got one more year. Next year, I think it's gonna be amazing for him. I liked how he bounced back from A&M. But I think they're gonna do good.
And hey, I think honestly, you need to do since you're like the sports editor for the Daily Cougar, I think you should do a write up on Connor Wegman.
I can do that.
And you know what would be cool? If you and Connor can do like this write up at Bridgeland.
I need to see whenever he's back. I don't know where he is. I don't know where
Man, look, just hit him on Insta. Be like, hey, Connor, introduce yourself. Tell him. That'd be cool. Yeah.
Hey.
Go back and at Bridgeland and do a write up. I don't know where y'all would go, but just saying. That'd be kind of cool.
High school.
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
That'd be cool. But
yeah.
All right, well.
Those are the two Texas Bowl games that stood out to us, and yeah.
And we're always going to talk about Texas. So just so y'all know, Texas football
all the way,
all the way. And shout out North Shore High School for winning. They don't know about that. Yeah, North Shore. Shout out for a great performance. It was a close game. It was a good defensive game, but nonetheless, no show. Y'all showed out.
What he said. Yeah. Sports don't lie, people do.
Today we told no lie.
So whether you're watching the Cougars, Longhorns, college playoffs, or waiting for the Dallas Cowboys to rise, we'll be here breaking it down, blowing the whistle.